Hello everyone. Okay, so we just completed the SP3. Now let me just cover your initial access. How you will get the initial access of your firewall. Once I'll cover that, I'll complete that, I'll move into the packet flow. Okay, I know packet flow I will not able to complete today entire one, but what I'll do, I'll discuss in the next class as well. Okay, so let's try to understand the initial access. Okay. So guys, in your Palo Alto Firewall, basically, whenever you will get any hardware appliance, let's suppose you have received a hardware appliance of PA 440 box or PA 3220 box or 3420 box or like PA 5420 or 5410, whatever the hardware appliance you will receive, the very first task you have to do on this box, you have to do the initial configuration. You have to do the initial configuration, right? And to do the initial configuration, what you have to do, you need to take the access of this device, right? And how we will take that initial access, that I am going to explain now. So guys, if you want to take the initial access, you have a two options. We only have a two options to take the initial access of your firewall. First option is the console cable. We will connect the console cable with the console port of your Palo Alto Firewall like this. This is the console port. You will see the port like that. This is the console port where you have to basically connect your cable. One part of this console cable you will connect here, and another part of the console cable you will connect in your PC. And after that, you can able to get the console access of this device. But when you will try to access this firewall with the console cable, what you have to put the username and password. Let me show you something, guys, because I have a console cable with me. So I'll put one picture, okay, in the WhatsApp group. Let me do that right away. So if I'm just taking the picture here actually of my firewall. Okay, now I'll I'll put this picture with you in our WhatsApp group so you will get the idea. So guys, if you will open that picture, and I have shared on the WhatsApp group, there is a one console port where I have connected my console cable. One part of the console cable we have to connect there, and another part of the console cable I will connect with my PC. So I have connected, and how I can get the console access? What I have to do, you have to basically go into this device manager. In device manager, what you have to check? You have to check something like network adapters. Sorry, not network adapters. There is some port will be there. 1 minute. Yeah, this is what we have to check. Universal serial bus controller. This is for the USB ports and all. Okay, I forget. System devices. This is also not that one. Mhm. Network adapter. Yeah, below this network adapter, you have those ports. Those ones you have to connect. You have to check. See, in my case, it's COM3. It's like COM3. So I'll open my putty. I'll open the putty. When I'll open the putty, what I'll do, I'll select here serial. I'll select here COM3. In my case, it's COM3. So I'll just put here COM3. 96 is the speed. Click on open. Once I click that, you will get here, hit enter, and you will get the Palo Alto Firewall login. The default username in your Palo Alto Firewall is admin, and default password in your Palo Alto Firewall is also admin. And when you will enter the default username and password, you will get the access of your firewall. Like I did. Like see, I got the access of my firewall via the console cable. This is how we have to access the device using the console port. Another options we are having, if you don't want to use the console port, if you don't want to use the console port, what you can able to do, you can able to basically use the instead of console port now, come on, just a second. My epic digital writing board, let me reconnect it here. This is the another problem, not sure why not responding. I have a less like port on my laptop, so that is the reason I have removed one of the connect to the host machine. Okay, I think this was the problem. Yeah. Now you can see here after connecting. See, if you don't want to use the console port, then you will have a management port. What do you have to do? Connect this management port, one cable with this management port and also your PC. The default IP address in this management port is 192.168.1.1/24. Then in your PC, what you can configure the IP address like 192.168.1.10/24. After that, you can access the GUI of your Palo Alto Firewall, and you can access the SHS if you want SHS or the GUI web UI is available. You can able to access and you can do your configuration. So the default username in your Palo Alto Firewall is admin. This is the default username, and the password of that default username is also admin. And the by default IP address which is configured in the management port of your firewall is 192.161.1/24. Okay. Now you have the access, you can able to do the configuration. So you can connect the management port like this to management port console port like this. So default username in is 192.161.24. In VM series devices, you will not able to have this IP address. VM series devices, they have a, they will get the IP address from DHCP server if you have any. Default username and password is admin. One more thing I wanted to tell you guys. What problem people faced? Let me show you something actually. Let's take an example. We have a router here. This is your organization router, okay? This is F0x0 interface. And here you have a switch, like switch 1, switch 2. Like that you have a switch here. Or let's suppose you just have a single switch. Okay. In this interface, we have IP address like 192.168.1.1. This is possible, right? This is quite possible. because it's a private range and we used to have that range, right, in the production environment. Now, here you have your users are connected with this switch, right? The IP address of this user, let's suppose this PC is 192.168.1.10. This is 1.20. This is 1.30. And default gateway on those three PCs is 192.168.1.1. Normal communication is happening. Now let's suppose you are sitting on this PC. Let's say this is PC3. This is your PC. You are sitting on this PC. Now what do you want? You got a new firewall. Okay, you got a new firewall. So this is F0 by 0 interface. This is F0 by 1. This is F0 by 2. And this is F0 by 10 interface. Now let's suppose there is a one interface called F0 by 7 is free. And you have connected the firewall management interface. You have received a Palo Alto box like 820. And you've connected that particular box with this. Connected the management interface here. Now what problem you will face now, guys? What is the IP address we are having on this interface by default? 192.168.1.1/24. Now what will happen? Let's suppose this PC1 is communicating with the Facebook, PC2 communicating with the Gmail. Now where they will send this traffic? Now when they will send this traffic towards the default gateway on this switch. Now this switch will learn the MAC address from 192.168.1.1 through F0 by 0 interface and also F0 by 7 interface. So what he will do? Some packets he will send here, some packet he will send here. When your firewall receive those packets, what it will do? It will keep dropping, right? Because those packets is not intended for the firewall. They are no use for this firewall, right? So it will start dropping those packets. And this was the problem faced by multiple organizations because in LAN segment, they used to have this particular series. And most of the problem they have faced with the virtual devices. Because you know, when you will deploy the virtual devices, by default, it will use to get this IP address. And if there is any route or switch, he is also having this IP address. And if you have deployed your firewall into virtual environment, then your firewall will start getting the traffic by default. It's a huge problem people with. That is the reason in your VM devices nowadays that IP is not configured. It comes with the DSCP client option. So if you have a DSCP server, whatever the IP address will be there, now your VM devices, they will get the IP address automatically, okay, from the DSCP server. But in hardware appliance, still that problem is there. So if you have a same segment in your office environment and if you are trying to connect your firewall, just first connect with the console cable. Whatever the IP address is allocated for your firewall, configure that IP address on your firewall, and after that only you can connect with your switch. Otherwise, you will face that particular issue. And this is the live issue faced by multiple peoples. One more thing, guys, as I have mentioned, what is the default IP address in your Palo Alto firewall? Management interface 192.168.1.1/24. Default username is admin and default password is admin. In management interface, IP address by default HTTPS, SHS, and ping. These three services is by default enabled. By default in your firewall management port, these three services is enabled. Means once your firewall configured with the management IP, you can able to do the SHS on that IP. You can able to open the web UI of that firewall using the HTTPS, and you can also able to do the ping. Those three services by default enabled. Now guys, what are the ways to do the firewall configuration? So generally we have a four type of the ways to configure a next generation firewall. The first way, using the web interface or web UI, where in your web browser, we by default we used to connect with the HTTPS connection only, then the IP address of your firewall management port. By if you have option, you can also able to configure HTTPS access. But HTTP access is not recommended. Why? Because it's an unsecure communication. HTTPS is recommended because it's a secure communication. You can have an option of SHS as SHS in console. SSH option is there, console option is there, and also telnet option is there. Telnet by default disabled, but console and SHS option is available for you. You can also able to configure those devices by SSH and console, but here you have to do the configuration by a CLI. You can also able to manage your firewall with the panorama. Nowadays, if I not wrong, I can add one more term here, panorama and Strata Cloud Manager SCM. The third thing, we can also able to manage this firewall using the REST API or the XML API or the Python, like I can mention here automation tools. Automation tools like, can you guys tell me some of the tools? Ansible, have you heard this name? Ansible language, Python, Ansible will be there, Python will be there, and your Terraform will be there, right? But you know, those tools, they will use the XML API or the REST APIs for doing the configuration. Okay, those are the languages, those are not the tools, those are the languages. Tools like, have you heard the name of Backbox, Tofin, right? Tofin is there, Backbox is there. There's a one more automation tool. I'm not able to recall it properly. It was on my mind. So that particular tool also we can use. Yeah, AlgoSec. You are right, Vijay. It's AlgoSec. AlgoSec is also a very nice tool actually. We can use AlgoSec and we can manage almost all the vendors firewall like Palo Alto, Checkpoint, FortiGate, Juniper. And you know, AlgoSec will also help you with the optimization and all. Policy optimization, rule optimization. You can do a hell lot of tasks. Okay. So those are the tools, but they communicate with the firewalls using the XML or REST APIs. Okay. But we don't need to worry about that, how those works, because it's a headache of the that particular vendor who is offering that particular tool. When you will get the access of this particular firewall first time, when you will get the access of this particular firewall first time, what we have to do? You have to change the password. Default password is admin and default username is also admin, right? So what you have to do, when you will log in first time, it will allow with the username admin, but after that it will give you this warning, change the password. And your password should be 8 characters long, one uppercase letter, one lowercase letter, and either one number, either or one special characters. Like in my case, most of the time I configure this admin at 123. It works very well. One more password I used to configure like Palo Alto 123 exclamation mark. You can also try this Palo @L0 ALT then 0. This also works fine. Okay. One more thing I wanted to tell you guys. See, if you will see, this is the back panel of your Palo Alto 3260 device. Why this back panel we have to check most of the time? Because see, when you are doing any type of firewall deployment, right? Or you are just making your device ready. You are most of the time, mostly you are working remotely, right? Mostly you are working remotely in your data center, right? Or in your branch. Mostly you will send either you will get a help from field engineer, either you will get a help from site engineer. Yeah, they are the normal network engineers. They don't have much knowledge, right? Or maybe you have sent somebody from the field engineer side. He is good with the maybe cabling, rack and stack task, right? But he is not aware about those ports and all. Then you have to guide basically them. You have to guide him properly. Like by looking this particular this particular back panel of that particular band, that particular model. Like you have to tell, here we have a console port, here we have a USB port, here we have a management port. This is management port, this is console port, then HA1 backup, HSCI port, your copper ports. So 1 to 12 are the Ethernet ports or the copper ports. Then we have a SFP and SFP plus ports from 13 to 20. Those are the SFP plus ports and SFP ports. Then we have a QSFP ports are there. QSFP plus ports 21 through 24. Then HSCI port is there, right? What are the functionality of all those ports? And also you have to tell those particular alarms. LED status indicators, right? You have to tell them. You have to check those particular documentation, right? RJ45, it's a 10 Mbps or 100 MB or 1 GPS. What kind of ports is there? What is the speed they have supported, right? All those things you have to tell. And even though sometimes you have to also understand what type of SFP module you have to insert, like short range, long range, right? Those type of SFP modules are there, and you have to understand and you have to order those, and accordingly you have to insert those actually. So all those type of tasks you have to do. So this particular information always you have to read. And even though, let me tell you one more thing. If you will type here PA 5420 back panel, see, like that you can search and you will get the idea. You will search, see, you will get the back panel of the device here. Come on. So this is the back panel where we have a power ports. So we have a two power supply, left power supply and right power supply, right? Those are the fans. Sorry, and you have to check the front panel as well. In front panel, sorry, we will get those port details. See, 1 to 8 copper, then 19 to 20, 21 to 24, then 41, 42, 43, 44. And also, guys, see, if you will see, those are nowadays, I forget the name for those ports. See, now your port number 25, 26, 27, and 28, they are combined. On this one, it's become 41. Four Palo Alto ports is combined and they become as a 41. Your 29, 30, 30 and 31 and 32 become the 42. Okay. Like that combination is coming nowadays. And what you have to do, let me tell you. Port number 21 through 24, 4 SFP, 28, 25 GBS port that also support 1 GPS and SFP and 10 GBS SFP plus module. The FAQ setting of the remote endpoint must be set to RS-FAQ to ensure that the link remains up. And you can see port number this breakout from the port 41. So 41 when you will configure, which means you have to tell in the firewall you will able to see 25, 26, 27, 28 type of rating. Like they are the 4 form factor pluggable. This is the port name. It's a QSFP plus ports or as QSFP 28 port, and it will support 40 Gbps to 100 Gbps of throughput. It's huge, man. It's a huge throughput actually. Okay. So like that, we have to inform regarding that actually. So it's a front panel and back panel. Okay, then what I have? Oh, this is I do have for 50 to 100, 50 to 20 as well, right? What I have here now, let me just see. Okay, I don't have anything now to discuss apart from this packet flow. Any questions, guys, so far? It's like bundle port. They name it actually. They name it something. I forget that name because I'll ask that particular name from one of the cabling person. They know all those things actually, but I forget that name right now. What they call it actually. Okay, so guys, what I'll do? Let me just stop here. I'll take a few questions now. I'll take packet flow in your next class. And guys, just remember one thing. From next class onwards, I'll start exactly at 9 a.m. Okay, I will not wait. I'll start exactly at 9 a.m. and I will end at 1 p.m. because the next class is designed in such a way I need that much time. 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and I'll take a break of 20 to 30 minutes in between. So from next time onwards, your class will be go like this only. Okay, so be prepared accordingly as discussed.